and welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show. We're airing the show every Tuesday. We've done it for a few months now. We air it with our friends Steve and Karen Wilson. They are known as Mr. and Mrs. Wild of Asheville in North Carolina. And they own and run the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast in the Montford Historic District, La-Ti-Da, of Asheville. And so I encourage you to go to their website, lion-rose.com. And this is where it all started. We landed on their doorstep. They gave us a beer. They introduced us to their dogs, and we became immediate friends. And so now we do a show every month. And we've been hiking. We've been beer drinking. We've been, having a good time. So welcome back to the show, Steve and Karen. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're doing good. How are Ozzy and Oreo and Jax and Rocky and I shouldn't say that. But how are the pups doing?
They're good. They're good. Just a little chilly because it's been the bitter cold, but they're happy. They're happers.
Do they have jackets?
Yes, they have sweatshirts. We took them out the other day to go search for some frozen waterfalls, and they had their little sweatshirts on.
Aw. You guys did that. That was awesome. I was looking at your photos. I mean, that's amazing, the ice and everything. And you're like, well, it's not quite ready yet. We're all looking at this going, this is freaking amazing. I mean, people in other parts of the country go like, really? We don't get to see that. In Arizona, where we lived before we went on the road full time, we're like, we don't get to see frozen waterfalls all the time. That's pretty amazing and just beautiful. So today's show, everybody, because it's 2023, technically, right, now that this is airing on January 3rd. Yep, I'm just making sure. Third's the word. This show is dedicated to 23 must-do experiences in and around Asheville in 2023. Which is cool. It's exciting. And I know we're going to end up covering more than 23 because it's Asheville. And it is, Smoky Mountains National Park is the backyard. The Blue Ridge Parkway is the backyard. Pisgah National Forest is the backyard. See, did I already give a few things away, you guys? Did I?
Maybe.
No,
Maybe, but that's okay. Sneak peek.
Is it?
It's fine. There's so much.
Yep.
That's my ding.
I know, it's like, okay.
I got two dings in there. My ding is slow. Anyway, I'm going to say that our first ding is there's no way we're going to do the dings throughout this show. But that's the ding. The ding is that the first ding per 23 things is that you check into the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, like I was saying, in the historic Montford district. It is a Pink Lady Victorian mansion. It is beautiful, lovely, certified, garden for the National Wildlife Federation. They have this certified backyard habitat. So you invite birds and all of these native species in, including bears in Asheville, by the way. That's another ding. But, Karen, give us a little bit of an overview of the inn.
Well, officially, we were told that the inn is 1898. From some of the history that we have, it looks more like 1895. A few years makes a difference. If maybe it doesn't. So it's been a bed and breakfast since 1985. We are the fifth owners and keepers of this beautiful place. A lot of interesting history here. We've kind of gone through that. I know touched on that before as far as the families who lived here. Some interesting connections with Thomas Wolfe and one of the sons that lived here. So there's some really interesting stuff.
Nice. Okay. I feel like we're going to go into a vortex if we do that, right? They tell us that on the Gray Line tours that, the trolley tours that you're on the vortex. So that's another thing. I can't do the ding. I just can't. But Steve is a home brewer. So when you check in, you get beer, a home brewed beer. And if you're there on a Sunday, this is the special day. You get a beer mosa at brunch. And by the way, Steve's breakfasts are to die for, right? We know about them. So that is a big deal. So, Steve, how long have you been brewing beer?
Oh, probably since, I want to say...
About 8 years, huh?
At least that, yeah. It might be longer. I mean, it was off and on for a while, but seriously, probably for about 8 years. And we just incorporated into the inn and everything, and that would be a nice touch to be able to hand our guests a ice cold home brew from the Beer City, USA.
How many breweries are in Asheville, do you think? I mean, it is Beer City, USA, yeah. And Dog City.
Per capita. It's
over
per capita,
40,
but...
I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. Still by hand? Offhand?
Yeah, over 40.
Maybe Kristy knew.
Okay, so let's get Kristy on the show. Kristy is our very first guest on the show. Kristy-Tolley is the author of 100 Things to Do in Asheville Before You Die. We don't want you to die, but we want you to do the 100 Things to Do in Asheville. And I know putting this show together today that she probably could have written a book of 200 to 300 things to do in Asheville, and we keep going back to Asheville, so it's a big deal. She's also the editor of The Points Guide, so you can go to that website, thepointsguide.com. You can go to her website, KristyTolley.com. That's Tolley, and it's Kristy with a K. So she's like a Krispy Kreme. So welcome to the show, Kristy. How are you?
Which was actually, I think, that's a North Carolina creation, right? Krispy Kreme.
Yes, it
thank
is.
you so much for having me. I'm so excited to hang out with you all today.
So you've written this book. I mean, this 100 Things to Do in Asheville, and I think that's such a hard thing to do because you had to throw things out. Like you had to kill the babies that you wanted to put in.
You hit the nail on the head. It was so funny. I had a lot of people say, "Oh, how are you going to come up with 100 things?" And I'm like, "How am I going to narrow it down to 100 things?" Seriously, there's just a bevy of just, and I mean, you could literally visit Asheville every weekend and come up with something new to explore. It's amazing. And it was so much fun to write. You know, I've been in the travel and tourism industry for, 27 years now. And I've written about and visited Asheville so many times over the past 30 years. And it's just one of my absolute favorite places to be.
I like it. Okay, are you being served?
It's a floating thing. I have to let it stay here and there on the show. But like, seriously, Kristy, I want to go back to what we were talking about in the beginning is breweries. Like,
breweries, yeah.
I mean, you could do like 100 brewery experiences in a way. How many breweries do you I mean, writing this book, you had to go through some breweries.
Well, of course. I mean, there are over 40.
Here's the reason she wrote the book.
Exactly. And there's a reason it's called Beer City, USA, with over 40, breweries per capita than any U.S. city. There's roughly 100 local beers that you can enjoy in Asheville on draft and bottles. And, each is unique. Each brewery has its own atmosphere. You've got the OG brewery, Highland Brewing, of course, which opened in 1994. But I mean, there's just so many places to check out and sample beer. Yeah.
So is it about the water?
Well, it's about the water. It's about being in the mountains.
I mean,
that's what we've been told.
Yeah.
The neutral of the water, how neutral the water
pH
is.
on it. Yep.
Oh, wow. Cool.
That's what was that? That was the guy who did the other beer tour.
Yeah, if you go, if you have a bad pH, like you get an acid test on your body, you need to just go to Asheville and have a beer, and you'll be fine.
There you go.
There you go.
Nobody. I mean, well, I mean, I don't want to say anything negative about acid either, but I'm just saying, it's
okay.
Alkaline versus acid is what I'm talking about. But, I really think there's something super cool about Asheville in that it is fun, it's funky, but it's historic, and everybody embraces the history on all parts of its history. That is really there's some insane history, like in a lot of ways. But I think that it's got the nature, it's got so many parts to it that it's really special. The brewery thing, obviously it comes on the map with that, but the arts have really been huge. But you were talking about Highland Brewing, Kristy, but Steve and Karen, each of you, give a shout. Is it Rock Bottom? What was the place that we went to with you guys, with the cider?
Brewing.
Oh, cider?
There was another one. Downtown.
No, cider's Bold Rock.
Bold Rock cider.
Rock, that's it. Why do I always say Rock Bottom? Oh, wow.
Let me not say anything.
And then what? The other one you've got the Fat Tire place. I always call it the Fat Tire Brewery. New Belgium, yeah, because they're cool. Mm-hmm. When we were there, you couldn't tip the bartenders or the beer tenders. The money went.
Well, they donated them to charity.
They donated. Yeah, that's so cool.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
We like that too.
They let your dogs be there too, and that is another thing. So, would you say Asheville is a dog-friendly city?
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
That's cool. That is cool. So, Kristy, in your book, you really covered everything. I mean, we have a list that we were, going back and forth between all of us, and by the time the show starts now, it's already been added onto, and a lot of it is in your book. So one of the places you wanted to make sure we brought up on the show is, because we have a lot of tour people coming on the show, everyone. We're going to be talking about Rooftop-Bar-Tours, Wellness Tours, LaZoom-Tours. We've done Gray Line, trolley tours. You've heard about them on the past shows. But, Kristy, you talked about Hood Huggers tours. And I think these tours are really a good thing, because Asheville, when you first get there, you really don't quite get it until you go on a tour to get kind of the lay of the land. But tell us a little bit about Hood Huggers tours.
Yeah, Hood Huggers, it's the interactive tour. It was founded by Dwayne Barton, and he was the co-founder of the Burton Street Peace Gardens, which I mentioned in my book. It's number 74, actually. And what it does, the tours showcase the city's African-American history and the future through the businesses, arts, environmentalism. And the tour takes you through the neighborhoods with those grassroots initiatives, art, active green spaces, things like that. And so proceeds from each ticket actually go to support the Hood Hugger, their international programming, which supports their community. And it also helps students get confidence through the arts environment. They learn financial literacy, construction skills, all kinds of things, all provided by a team of staff and community mentors. It's really impressive.
That is cool.
That's way cool.
One of our shows, I think it was November, we did, was the Arts of Asheville, and we had Stephanie Hickling Beckman on from Different Strokes Performing Arts Collective. And I want to add that to there. I mean, because it was really about, diversity and bringing in people that, hey, we want to do something. And the Magnetic Theater, we had Katie Jones on too, talking about like just opening the doors for people to actually be part of theater, which is a big deal, because that goes into just creativity, literacy, and showmanship, performing. I mean, and feel good, right? All of that. Right.
Yeah, and it inspires confidence. Yeah, it inspires confidence and students, and just gives them an outlet for creative opportunity. It's just an impressive program.
Do you think, Kristy, that Asheville has like a younger energy, even though it has such like ancient history? When you think about the indigenous peoples, and then you go into like all these different eras of its history. I mean, just being settled, and then all these different plagues and things that happened to it during its time. And I mean, there's certain parts where we learned from the Gray Line trolley tours that you could be walking on dead people downtown, like literally. Well, that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
so there's all of these things, but at the same time, isn't there like an energy? Do you feel that about Asheville? That's very young.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a very youthful atmosphere in that there's such a strong sense of community and they have such a welcoming spirit. But it's like they embrace the past in the sense that you learn from the past. There's so much history that we need to acknowledge and we need to honor, but there is a hope and there's just an enthusiasm for the future and what the future holds. And I know, I mean, it sounds cliche and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Asheville is really the place to go for every type of traveler. It's such I'm inspired every time I go there. Like whether you want to embrace the outdoors, whether you're a history buff, artist, foodie, family, there's really something for everyone. And I feel like it's contagious. Every time I go and explore and just experience as much as I can experience, even if I've done it a million times before and visited the same places, I just leave so inspired and just energized. Just that makes sense. And if you all feel that way, I mean,
it does. Yeah, you know, we come away from it going, now that's America. That's how I feel. Like, you know, you come away and you go, it's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but everybody gets along.
And it's like, absolutely.
Yeah. So to me, that's the epitome of what this country is.
Well, yeah, because you've got the downtown too, and the downtown has record stores.
Oh, yes.
So, listen, vinyl is like, come on. Like, I get excited, and I have to watch my language because I do. I get excited about like vinyl and bookstores, and there's bookstores with champagne and like seriously, and then there's like places with vinyl being pressed. Kristy, tell us about that in your book. And like Steve, Karen, Nancy, and I have been saying, we're gonna like next time we get there that we're gonna do the vinyl thing, and we're going to go to the Moog place because, like, you know.
We're going to take you to do that. Absolutely. Yep.
I know, and it's so interesting to see the kind of the renaissance, the new life that the vinyl records are having. Like my daughters are like buying vinyl records and things, and I'm like, I still have my Duran Duran albums and my Prince albums, you know. So it's just so funny to see. But yeah, you can definitely find what you need in Asheville. You've got Harvest Records, Voltage, Static Age. So, you know, so many opportunities to restock your original, you know, if your original collection made its way to the art sale over the years, you can restock it or, you know, get some new vinyl.
Listen, my original stuff was, dude, one of my first albums I bought was $1 Billion Babies, like Alice Cooper. Like, seriously, now, how am I going to get that back? I had the White Album. I had, like, Cat Stevens on, you know, like, how do you have the White Album, Cat Stevens, and Alice Cooper in one collection? Don't ask me, but that is, you know, we're the blend. But, like, how do you recoup all that, right? And Sticky Fingers, which you're going to, now they're going to take that away. Like, the Rolling Stones are going to take that album away. And I'm like, no.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Lisa, what was the album you had with the zipper down the front?
That's it, Sticky Fingers.
Yeah, Sticky Fingers, yep.
That's it.
Yeah, see.
She brought that home, and I'm like, really?
No.
Oh, my
gosh.
God.
And that was made in your era. Excuse me, Nancy, mother.
I know.
Mother. Listen, the worst stuff was made in your time frame. Oh, I don't know. I can't say that. I mean, come on. But this is the thing about albums, like going into stores, albums, and then to be able to see them pressed. I think that's what's so cool. Like, I'm a fan of Jack White for so many reasons in regards to just the creativity is endless. And Third Man Records in Detroit, he's really single-handedly bringing back this vinyl pressing back into like, hello, this is what we need, and you can do your own album, you can do these things, and to know that Asheville's doing that. Kristy, what is that about with the vinyl, like where you can press your own?
Right, like Citizen Vinyl. It's in the old Citizen Times building, and so it's like an immersive music experience, and it's got the I'm pretty sure it's the state's only large-scale recording pressing facility. And you've got the recording studio, the record store, there's a cafe and bar. And when I wrote the book and got it published, Citizen Vinyl opened for I could add it to the book physically. So when I do a second edition, I'll be able to add that to it. But,
good thing I brought that up.
Yeah.
You did put the book in there. You did put the movie thing. Now tell us about that, because I know Steve, Karen, Nancy, and I want to go. We haven't unless Steve and Karen did it without us. Like, did you do it?
Yep.
Did.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got the Moog Factory, music factory, and then you also got the museum. They're both located on Broadway Street. One is down the street from the other. But Dr. Robert Moog created the synthesizer. He was an electronic music pioneer, and he was the founder of the synthesizer and invented the first commercial synthesizer. So, back in 1964, he pretty much revolutionized the world of music for sure.
Yep.
And when you go to that factory, you can't miss it, because it's, a couple of, you've got that nice mural on its outer walls. It's got a multi-level synthesizer murals. It's so cool. And then in the museum, it's on 56 Broadway Street. That is the hallmark of the foundation for him. And it just gives you a really in-depth look at the birth of synthesizers, his life, innovations, and things like that really altered music in the 60s and 70s.
For sure.
There would be no prog rock without him, literally.
Exactly.
He's the epitome of that. And we do so many, interviews with prog artists, and I'm always like, come on, like, have you been here? Like, and then, so we've got to go. So, Karen, you put the drum circle on your list. We're talking about music. So what's the drum circle about? Like, come on. Can we be happy?
That's the iconic Asheville thing on Friday night, where a bunch of people, anybody and everybody you can imagine, comes down there with a bunch of drums. You'll see anybody from hippies to somebody in a business suit, just, enjoying the sound of the drums and just having fun. It's a nice place to just kind of go kick back and people watch and enjoy.
Oh, cool.
I like it.
I got to go to Steve, the orange peel in music. We got to bring that up. Is that a thing that you guys like to do? I mean, apparently there's a bunch of good bands that come out in the area.
What's that again now?
The orange peel.
Orange peel.
Orange peel.
Oh, the orange peel. Yeah, the orange peel is a great place to watch a show. It's nice and intimate. It's an old roller skating rink, I guess, before they turned into a music venue. And you can get in there, and they have some decent bands coming there as well. I mean, there's a lot of the cover bands are doing a lot lately. You've got Zeppelin cover band that's coming to town, Zoso, that's really good. You've got Journey cover bands. The one we like comes there once in a while. They're really good. I mean, and you get some of the bigger names. What was it? Shinedown was there.
Shinedown was a very cool show.
See that. And that was a great show.
Hey, Larkin and Poe will be there at the end of January. I'm just saying. I think 23rd.
Oh, that's right. You said that.
Yes. Oh, I love Larkin and Poe, man. We saw them in Greeley, Colorado. And the descendants of Edgar Allan Poe, like way down the line, but like badass women on guitars.
That's very
saying,
cool.
They really rock it out. It's like, I love to see that. And I think that's what's so cool about,
I do too.
When you think of North Carolina, you think bluegrass, you think all these, Appalachian music, and then there's really some amazing rock going on, and then there's folk music. We're going to close the show with, the Love Bubble, that is a band out in Asheville, and I think that's what's so cool about Asheville is the diversity. Wouldn't you say that? Kristy, with you putting the book together, is that something that, how did you kind of, when you were putting it together, did you kind of feel like everybody had to be included, like Native American, African Americans, you got, the settlers, you got the writers, you got the musicians, like it's a mixed bag of people.
Right, yeah, it's so extensive, and it's hard to be able to, put this into, a guidebook that's under, 200 pages. How do you decide, And I do include the Gray Eagle Music Hall in my book, and we saw a show. My daughters are 22 now and 19, and one of their favorite bands is Somersault, and the vibe and the music is very much kind of like a new version of like the Beach Boys kind of folk type music, and they were playing at Gray Eagle, and it was on a Sunday night, and we drove from Charlotte to Asheville for the show, and then drove back that night because we had to get my other one back to college in Charleston. But it was so worth it because it's, like the Orange Peel, such an intimate venue, and they hosted Avett Brothers, Dap Kings. There are just so many local bands, and then artists, and just it's just really impressive, the amount and like you said, such a diversity of styles of music that you can find in Asheville.
One thing I wanted to touch on too is the arts. If we're talking music, obviously Thomas Wolfe, O. Henry, big arts in literary arts. Thomas Wolfe, there's the historic site that you could go to, and I would say go on the Gray Line tour. Wouldn't you say, Stephen, Karen, go on the Gray Line first? Like, get on there.
Yeah. That's a great overview. Great overview of the history.
Yeah, that would be the first thing to go on.
Yep, that's what we did.
Yeah, it just gives you an idea of your land, of where you are in the city. Then go to places like the Thomas Wolfe Historic Site, and then the River Arts District. I want to talk about that too. But the Riverside Cemetery behind your house was you guys were the introduction to Asheville. And we're like, cool, 2 cool innkeepers, their dogs, cats, and an incredibly amazing B&B, beer, awesome breakfast, and then we went for a walk in the cemetery. I mean, that is the coolest way to get to know Asheville for the first night, and then we had to leave the next day, but obviously we keep circling back. Asheville is like, I don't know, there's 4 little dogs that we keep coming back to. Your 2 and another 2, But Asheville's special. You do keep circling around. But the Montfort is it 300? How many historic houses in Montfort? It's
over 600.
I wanted to say 600, but I didn't want to be like wrong. Like, that's insane. Like, when we go on that tour, you see it. But the arts thing, if you go through the district, then there's a River Arts District, but then there's like the Folk Arts Museum and things too. So there's the literary arts, there's the arts, there's downtown, go to galleries. But the folks art, that is something we haven't done. Kristy, you've done that. It's covered in your book. Can you give us a little insight on that? Because I think that's something that for people that want to kind of understand Appalachian life, that would be a place to go.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you were mentioning the River Arts District too. But yeah, the Folk Arts Center, it's along like the Blue Ridge Parkway, and you'll want to stop off at milepost 382. It is so impressive. It's headquarters for the Southern Highland Craft Guild. And what the Craft Guild, it was formed, back in 1930, and it was designed to serve as a network for Appalachian craftspeople and kind of give them an outlet for them to market their work. So here you'll see, there's more than, I think, 900 juried artists here.
Wow.
And you will definitely find some of the finest traditional contemporary craft in the Southern Appalachians. And it's also home, the Allen Stand Craft Shop is the oldest craft store, and it's actually one of the first of its kind in the U.S. And in July next year, July 20th, I think, to the 23rd, and also again in October, they have the 76th Craft Fair of the Southern Highlands. And that takes place in Harrah's, but that's another opportunity. If you're big on festivals and events and things like that, that's a good place and a good time to check that out.
Yeah, festivals, that's another thing. I mean, we haven't even put that on the list. Like, Steve, Karen, how many people come to town for festivals? Is that a big
Oh,
thing?
More and more, I think, now that everything started coming back. We definitely get a lot of people here for the arts and crafts things. We're getting more for music. Definitely. I know, like, the beer festivals haven't come back. I'm sure once that does, we'll see a lot more of that, too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Biltmore event.
And, of course, Biltmore, yes.
Oh, my gosh, did we leave the Biltmore out? How could we? Oh, my God. The Biltmore is a huge deal. That's a lot of people, they're like, when we've stayed at the inn and played innkeepers at times, everybody that goes there, it's like that is you don't go to Asheville without doing the Biltmore. Like you don't. That's
right.
It's changing a little bit where we definitely have some people that have other preferences and they're doing more of the outdoors or more of the foodie stuff or the brewery stuff. Biltmore's not at the top of the list as much as it used to be.
Ooh. Well, what I saw was most people want to do the gardens. That was a bigger deal.
The gardens, yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Like the Arboretum is huge too. The Arboretum, I have to bring that up in the botanical gardens. The Arboretum, I want to go back in a different season. We always seem to hit it in the fall. And they have that beautiful quilt garden and then all the public art. And then they have I want to go for the azaleas because that is the national, I know I say this on every show. I know I'm annoying. But they have the National Depository of, is it repository or depository?
Don't start that again.
All righty. Of azaleas. One azalea species per se. Let me just say it correctly. In this garden, which is amazing, and we were there at the wrong time each time. But I want to go back. But we did see blooming azaleas. But I want to go back. I want to be there at the time to see the azaleas bloom, and then I want to go in the creek areas where the salamander, and I want to come in spring. We haven't done spring really. Nancy, we have to go back to Asheville.
Yeah, it's spring.
It's shocking. So the Arboretum is cool and it's free. However, you pay for parking, and that is, you might as well buy a ticket to go in at that point. But if you have an annual pass or whatever, it is. I don't know, to me, one of the favorite places in Asheville because it's not like the strict, and the botanical garden that way, we were there and it was raining and wet and slidey. But there's something relaxed about both places. And when you go to a botanical garden, it's la-di-da. And both places allow you to have a natural side versus the manicured. And I think that's really important. I see a lot of botanical gardens across the country changing that way. But I think Asheville has it down in that you need to understand your natural, real environment to understand, like, here's what we can cultivate in our backyard, too. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yep. Like the native, like I think botanical gardens, I think they have like, I want to say it's like over 600 species native to Southern Appalachians.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Wildflowers, trees, and things like that. Yeah.
Cool. We got to come back. I feel like we have to go home. It's like our other home. It's like certain cities become that, and Asheville definitely has.
Definitely.
Christy, thank you for joining us. Everyone, go to Christy's website. It's KristyTolley.com, and that's KristyTolley.com. See, I can sing Mickey Mouse. KristyTolley.com. And she's on Instagram at Tolley, Facebook, 100 Things Asheville. And you can also keep up with her on where she is the editor at The Point Sky. Go to thepointsky.com. Did I get all that right, Christy?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed this. It's so much fun.
Thanks for coming on, Christy.
And most importantly, go buy her book. 100 Things to Do in Asheville Before You Die. And if you don't buy her book, well, go on the haunted bus tour and find out what happens.
Right.
People does that well, too. Thank you so much, Christy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Christy.
All right, so now we're going to go rooftop flying. Apparently, Steve and Karen like to have cocktails on the rooftops, and so do their staff. And
I like it a lot.
They recommended an actual tour. This is what's crazy to me. There's an actual tour Like, how many rooftops do you have on this mountain town? Stay tuned. Steve and Karen, how many rooftop bars have you been to in Asheville? Come on, between the two of you.
See. 5, 6, and there's more than that. We still haven't done them all.
Wow.
You post photos of rooftop bars, and I always think it's like one down the street or something. But I had no idea until you said you've got to bring Kay Bentley on the show. She owns and runs Asheville Rooftop Bars. So everyone, Asheville-Rooftop-Bars.com. Very easily. Go to the website and check this out. And they have like these. This is awesome. Even if you don't drink, you can go, and they'll even take you around for mocktails if you want. And there's such a cool story behind the company too. Just as a small business. So welcome to the show, Kay. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. I hope you are.
Oh, we are. I think we'd be better if we could be on like a rooftop bar tour with you and doing the show that way. Like, wouldn't that be better?
So much fun.
We could do like a Zoom thing, and everyone could see the sunset. I mean, is that the thing? Is to see the sunset?
That would be wonderful. We would love to have something like that on the rooftop.
Heck
that'd be cool. We should do it.
That's an idea for the future. I like that.
Yeah,
good idea, Kay.
Listen, I'll have a cocktail anywhere with a good view, and the sunset is my thing. Nancy, you know,
rooftops are awesome.
Kay, what
the
led
best
you to
view
go
ever.
like doing a tour company on rooftop bars? Like, I've never heard of anyone doing that yet. Now I have, but I didn't even know that there were that many rooftop bars to do. So please enlighten us on what was that little spark that said, I'm going to do a tour company and take people to rooftop bars?
Well, for me, it was the history that you can see from the rooftops in Asheville. We have a lot of Art Deco buildings from the 1920s. Some of our buildings are from the late 1800s. And back in 2017, I realized that a lot of the views that we have from the rooftops today, I had been seeing some old historical photos of the city from the late 1800s, early 1900s, and I realized that it was kind of from the same street corners where I was at the rooftop bars. And I thought it would be really neat to combine a tour company that included some history, some handcrafted cocktails and mocktails, and there's a guide that leads the tour, and we do the transportation, so it's a 3-hour experience. And you really get to see and feel what Asheville is like from the best views that we have. So I kind of did this as a second career, and it led me to, you know, this passionate desire I have to share our beautiful city with people. And we do get locals that come on the tours as well as visitors, so it's fun because they enjoy the history, the views, and the drinks.
I was going to say, I would think you would get locals, too, because of the driving element, but also learning the history. And people who want to go on a tour, like Steve and Karen, you were saying, like going on a tour like this kind of thing, you know, it was part of getting to know the lay of the land if you even want to, you know, buy to Asheville and, you know, as a innkeeper and also, you know, homeowner. So I find this really amazing that you get into this in the history part of it, because I think, honestly, alcohol plays a big role of history, and North Carolina, too. I mean, wasn't North Carolina part of, like, some of the biggest moonshining, bootlegging camps in the country? Like, seriously.
Well, you know, that's supposed to be a secret, but no, I'm kidding. No. Yes, in the North Carolina mountains, definitely, you know, we've had, you know, moonshine stills and everything from the early days. So, yes, we do. We have that history.
Now, you've won all these awards, top 10 attractions worldwide, 2020, 21, 22, on TripAdvisor's Traveler's Choice Awards for being a tour. I mean, worldwide. And so, and then the recognition in Best of Asheville 2022 awards, but a Best Tour. Like there's all this list of stuff. Like everyone, just go to Asheville Roof. But like getting it worldwide, how does that make you feel, and also how you're representing your city? I mean, that's pretty cool to put Asheville on that worldwide map.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's with us and I just wanted to correct you. We're actually Asheville-Rooftop-Bar-Tours.com. So I wanted to get that tours in there. But yeah, we're just very happy that we are creating an experience that people respond to, and they also in turn, feel passionate about. So, a lot of our TripAdvisor reviews and Google reviews, you can see people talk about not only the views, but it's the history. So people come on our tours for different things. Sometimes it's, they're really into the cocktails, or I want to see the views, or, I want that history. And we got, somebody asked us the other day, it's like, okay, so what is your demographic? And it's like early 20s up to 80 plus. I mean, everybody comes on the tour for different things. We're a good choice, for people that are just wanting to learn more about the city. And we do get people that come on the tour that are thinking about moving to Asheville. And, we're all locals in our company. So, not only are we giving the lay of the land and landmarks and explaining where you are in the city and where we were at one point, and, we're also sharing our favorite things to do and things not to miss. So, people come away after that 3-hour experience really feeling like they have something of value. And, they just like, wow, didn't know that about Asheville. That was really cool.
That's cool.
But it's a totally different experience looking at something from a rooftop than as opposed to being on street level. So I think it's valuable. It opens your eyes a little more.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Especially being in the Smoky Mountains, like there's the room at the top at Stephen Cairns at the Lion and the Rose. Everybody, lion-rose.com, just saying. And there's the balcony you open up, and you can have your breakfast out there. You can have your wine. You look out and you can see, like, you're in a historic neighborhood, trees, birds. You can see all that.
Beautiful.
But then there's like the scene where it's so funny. People have sent me photos for previous stuff and everything. Here's our rooftop view of LA, blanket of smog. Thing. It's like, and that can make a good sunset or sunrise. But there's something special about Asheville where there's either like the Smoky Mountains mist that's mystical and magical, and you know what I mean? There's like, you want to look over because it is a city, but it doesn't feel like a city. And I want to go on the rooftop bar now and see that, because to me that's going to put that perspective in where you see all the different historic buildings and churches, because, I know that you guys have a lot of churches of all dominions. And like when you're up there, that's got to be so cool, and see the trees in between no matter what the season,
Exactly.
to be able to experience it. What's it like in winter? Well, right now we're in winter. Are the rooftops even open in the winter?
Oh, yeah. The rooftops are open. We have a tour. We have a tour that's out going today. And so there's overhead heaters. There's fire pits. The good thing about wintertime tours is you get an early sunset. So we have tours year-round, and people definitely come on those. We also know all of the best places to get the best photos. So we have a lot of people that come on there that they've seen us on Instagram, and it's like, oh, yeah, we want these views. We want to be in these views. And so, and we're surrounded by the Blue Ridge Mountains, which are some of the oldest mountains in the world. So everywhere you look, you will see some mountains in addition to those iconic, treasures as far as the buildings and everything that we have.
So before you go, one cocktail that represents Asheville. Like, and where is it from? Yeah, like we've got to have a cocktail idea.
Wow. Well, here's the thing about Asheville. Everything is seasonally driven with food and drinks. So the menus are changing up 4 to 5 to 6 times a year. Nice. One of the things that I am really enjoying is a lot of pomegranate drinks right now. We also have a pop-up bar at one of the rooftops, and everything is Christmas themed there. So, it's fun. I really, truly could not pick a favorite. I mean, there's There's one place that does their own house-made ginger beer, which is non-alcoholic, and they can, add any type of spirit you would like to that. So, that's the fun thing about Asheville is that things are always changing up.
We're mulling
with the drinks.
We're
There's
mulling.
a drink for all seasons.
But ginger beer is special. No, because I grew up drinking ginger beer in Africa, in Kenya and South Africa, and then got to the States and England and Mexico, and people looked at me like I was nuts. Unless you went to like specific places that it was like an imported luxury, But if you can get ginger beer, and now a lot of distilleries and breweries are making them. That's the beauty of breweries. Thank you. Ginger beer is a special drink that everyone must experience. It is.
I agree. That's one of my favorites.
And you can go to if you wanted to have it special as a mocktail or just have it plain, it's beautiful. And then if you wanted to mule on into the mule land, you could.
If you have trouble baking cakes that don't rise, put some ginger beer in.
Oh, okay. There you go. It's true. Actually.
Oh, yeah.
Good to know.
Ginger beer is a staple of Africa. It's like everything. Ginger beer is it's everything. And so, okay, I'm coming back.
Please do.
You knew you were coming back already.
Yeah,
I know.
And we would love to show you those views. We also share some historical photos while we're on the rooftops. My previous career, I worked for the Postal Service. I delivered mail for 38 years, and one of the things we're integrating into our tours is some old postcards of Asheville. And you will see those while you're on the tour as well. So we're always updating things, adding more things in. We have people that come multiple times, throughout the year on our tours, and we're always adding new things. So I extend the invitation to Steve and Karen to come back.
This is awesome.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Everyone, Asheville-Rooftop-Bar-Tours.com is the website to go to. Did I get it right? Did I get
You absolutely did. Thank you.
Then I get some ginger beer, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
You can have ginger beer at each stop if you would like.
I'm there. I'm jumping.
Okay.
I'm jumping. Thank you so much, and thank you for your service as a postal worker too, because it's so hard. It's such hard work, and I appreciate that too. So thank you so much for joining us, Kay.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I greatly appreciate it, and Happy New Year to all of you.
Yes,
Happy New Year to you.
All right, so everyone, the new year, she brings up a good thing. The new year, we start to think about what did we do to our bodies the year before? What damage did we do? Like, seriously, you don't want to hear about the damage I did to mine. Nancy, how are you feeling? Do you feel like you need a little
good right now?
Well, you always feel good. She just floats through life. But there's things that we do, and sometimes we need some healing, some meditation, some nature, some just revitalization, some rebooting. And so we're going to talk about Asheville-Wellness-Tours next. So everybody stay tuned. We've got a special guest joining us. How are you guys feeling, Steve and Karen? Do you need some wellness? Some goat yoga?
Could always use some wellness.
Probably.
You're going to be talking to one of my favorite tours. I love that Yoga Sunset tour, so I'm sure Nicole will tell you all about that.
Hey, listen, I want to hear about goat yoga.
I love it.
Nancy went on their website, and she's all like, goat yoga. I want goat yoga. All right, stay tuned.
I have not tried that yet, but I'm
Listen, we just did a whole rooftop bar tour. Like, come on. Cocktails, mocktails, and now our bodies the next day say, hello, we need it. Listen, this show is airing, January 3rd? You know you need some wellness. You know you need it. You feel it. You know you need it. Go to Asheville-Wellness-Tours.com. We're so excited to invite Nicole Will on our show she's the owner of Asheville Wellness Tours. Welcome, Nicole. How are you doing here on the show today?
Hi, I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm feeling rested and ready for 2023.
Oh, you're the only one. I'm kidding. Obviously, we need to all come on your tour. This is so cool because you are in Nature Haven. We're talking about the city and all the arts and everything and all the food and all the brews and all the cocktails. And now are you going to tell us we need to, get that out of our system a little bit?
Well, we call that a detox to retox, and I think it's totally fine to have a balance of all those wonderful things as well.
Okay, so
I like it.
I know we need to do that. I know that. And I'm going to say that the business world is stressed out as all hell. I don't care if it's a small business or a big corporate thingy. We need to also kind of balance ourselves, right? Especially making decisions. People in business right now are like, should I stay at home, do my own business, do 2 businesses, do 3? What should we do? And so there's a stress level, and I think our bodies over the last few years have gone through hell, our body, mind, spirit. And
absolutely,
we need some calm. So what would you say is the first thing for someone that calls you up and says, I am totally stressed out. I've got all this stuff going on and I can't help it. I'm freaked out. What would you dude, I can't anymore. I need to just calm the hell down. What would you say? See, I need it apparently.
Yeah, I would just say, first take a deep breath, of course. And I love what you said, body, mind, and spirit, because this idea of well-being is multidimensional, which means that there is no one quote-unquote right way, right? There are tons of fun, unique, light-hearted paths you can take.
So Nancy can have her cocktail in between yoga. That's
yes,
okay?
Yes, you can.
Oh, all right.
See?
Okay, go on. Sorry, Nicole.
I can balance it on my head.
I'm just making sure my mom's okay.
Yeah. Well, I heard you were just speaking with Kay of Rooftop-Bar-Tours, and I adore that business and her. And, my perfect day would be balancing the views from the mountaintops on a yoga hike with those end of days, the views from the rooftops. So mountaintops to rooftops, or if you need a little giggle, go cuddle some little baby goats. Get some yoga.
Seriously, there is a thing about the goats. Tell us about goat yoga, because we see it on TikTok and Instagram and people with their goats, but goats, I mean, how can you not look at a goat face and just everything melts in your body and look at you, and then their little lips come out at you, and then they start prancing around and butting and carrying on they're like little puppies but with little horns and crazy eyes, and they can jump
little
on
demon eyes.
Yeah, they now, Steve, we're being all chilled. There's no demons allowed. No, demons are not allowed.
It's cute.
It's seriously.
I tell you, it's a wonderful tool. Go ahead.
No, I was just to say I've had experience with goats because Lisa couldn't have cow's milk when she was young, so the doctor said get goats. So I did. And then I learned, I was milking the goats from the side like you would a cow. And then when we lived in Africa, they went, no, you did it wrong. You milked them from
bad
the
goat
back.
milker.
I know. So I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, but then how do you do? Yeah, no, it was weird. But so goat milking is it's thing.
Okay, but if now, see the goats, okay, so you had to go from the back. So I want to go back to Nicole on this. Does goat yoga make you look at things from different positions then, like what Nancy's talking about with milking? This is a good segue, right? Milking from the back, from the side to, now you're yogaing with goats. How does that work? I mean, do they make you just relax? Because what I've heard, yoga, people can get tense about even going to yoga. So do the goats help that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that the goats are another invitation and opportunity to just be fully in the moment, which is nice, and to introduce playfulness. We've taken so many things so seriously for so long. And this hour is an opportunity to put that aside. And it is very difficult to be distracted and out of the moment when you are studying the face of one of those precious little goats, like you said, or they're prancing around and playing, and you might move into and out of the movement part of the practice, and that's totally fine. It's just about being present.
Be the goat. Be one with the goat.
Be with the goat. Be one with the goat. Be around the goat. Be with yourself. We recently had a guest who shared. She said, "Hey, my friend lost her husband a month ago, and we haven't seen her smile until today, and it was the goat that did that.
Oh, that's
right?
so
like
sweet.
it's lighthearted and fun, and it can also be deeply meaningful, and I really appreciate that balance."
Hey, listen, everybody, it is Capricorn season. I'm just saying.
That's right.
I'm just saying we're all being goaty. But you know what? I think what's cool about your tours, we have friends out in England, Glenn Burrows. He runs Norfolk Tours. He's on the show all the time, and he talks about his tour company being, this is something crafted according to you. If you're traveling all the way to England, I'm not putting you in a typical, for a few days. It's different than like the tours, like the trolley tours, bus tours, and the rooftop tours. That would be something you would incorporate into your trip. But if you're going all the way somewhere, he handcrafts what people want to do. So it seems that that's kind of the same thing that you're doing too, in regards to what people need for their wellness adventure, whether it's forest bathing. Like, I mean, it's not like you don't have like forest in your backyard.
Right.
But it's like you've got yoga, of course, the goats, but sound healing, and then you can do things all the way up to like groups, like specialized group things. So, I mean, if someone said to you, hey, I really need to truly detox, get away. I'm going to go check in at the Lion and the Rose. I'm going to go play rooftop bar for the first night, and maybe on the Gray Line tour too, and then come out to you and say, okay, now I need to get serious with my body, the whole balance, spirit, all of it. I need to balance out, and so I can get aligned to do this next project or whatever they're doing in their life. I think there's something about that, like a solo journey. Because with everything that's going on in the world, if you don't like really connect with yourself, I think you can lose yourself, and then what's the point?
That's
So do you do that for the solo person that just wants to go on this? Because solo and being a solo traveler is a whole thing, and it's real, especially for women. And B&Bs, I think, are the best places for solo women travelers.
Absolutely.
And these kind of tours that we've been talking about on the show, like the rooftop tour, for bars and whatever, that's cool. But to be able to actually go on something that is something that you need, that's important. So do you do it for individuals, or is it mostly for groups? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have a little bit of something for most kinds of travelers. So for a solo traveler, I would recommend that they join in with one of our regularly scheduled excursions, like the forest bathing at the North Carolina Arboretum is a popular one, goat yoga, mountaintop yoga hikes. And then I would recommend that they balance it with some more private experiences that are exclusively for them, like maybe a tarot reading back at the bed and breakfast by the crackling fire. Maybe they have a massage that comes to them. We can send a yoga instructor and they can practice out on the lawn. So really balancing that time with maybe other like-minded adventurers, but also just really soaking up the opportunity to be with themselves. I think that's what I would do for solo. But, we really also specialize in private groups. We work a lot with groups of women gathering together to celebrate something, whether that's a bachelorette party or retirement or anything in between. And once we're working with a group, we really have the opportunity to customize sort of like a mini wellness retreat, if you will, without having to commit a week. You don't have to go for a week to Costa Rica, although that would be nice. You can get a little taste of that, a little sample of that feeling in Asheville.
Well, they used to call it like you're going to the fat girl farm. I'm serious. Sorry. I know, but that's the truth. You're going to that, and it used to be like you just need to recenter and get clean up your act. And if you're going with your friends, it's much more fun that you. Is there something about that, about being in a group situation that holds you accountable to what you all say? Okay, we're gonna maybe walk every day, or we're going to watch this on our food, or meditate every day, because even meditating every day is a whole other deal. Like, that's a commitment, right? And to continue those commitments that you make, is that beneficial when you all go on these group things together as women, whether it's 4 to 7 to 8, whatever group number it is, that those things you learn and experience can transform into the rest of your life if you're in a group.
Absolutely. Well, and when you're with a group, you may be just a little bit more willing to push your comfort zone ever so much more slightly than you would otherwise. And that's really beautiful. Everything on our quote-unquote menu is lighthearted in addition to being meaningful. So it's easier to push that comfort zone a little bit. So maybe we'll take a yoga hike, for example. Maybe someone in the group has never gone on a hike, and maybe someone has never practiced yoga, and they're going because they're in the safety and comfort of their group, and they get to the mountaintop and they discover they love it, and they're deeply moved by whatever portion of the experience they've connected with. And then they might take that back with them wherever they've gone, whether they're in Asheville and they're local, or they're visiting from out of town. They might say, I really enjoyed that yoga practice. I'm going to look up a studio here. And so that's really our hope, is that we can introduce some unique and eclectic approaches to this idea of well-being in a really fun way.
I think the bachelorette parties are a good idea, or even the bachelor parties, because holy cow, like, that's like, oh my God, suddenly you get that, like, I'd said this, I'd do that, like, what did I agree to do, and so you get the jitters, and, maybe you should bail, but you don't know until you really center on it, I'm not saying you should. I know, but maybe you should go or stay, I have to play the Clash next. Should I stay or should I go? But, it's getting that clarity and calming thing of making. I just believe we get to this point in life, especially over the last few years, that we are all in major decision-making mode. Majority of the world right now. True. I can't talk for everybody, but whether you're going through whatever you're going through, there's been a lot of passings. There's been a lot of all kinds of just challenges. And if you can recenter and go into a forest and understand, like, I know you do forest bathing. Now, we could just go for a walk in the woods and say, okay, I'm going to sit under a tree and forest bathe. I have no idea how to forest bathe. But
what is forest bathing?
Yeah, exactly. Do you guide people on that? Do you say, okay, now here's the forest, now you bathe? Like, what you bathe?
Yes. It is a guided experience, and it is essentially a mindful walk in nature. So often the value of the guide is that this person is going to hold the container and offer invitations along the way that really help people settle into the environment, rather than, we got to get to wherever it is, the waterfall, the mountaintop, the end of the trail. Like, can you pause along the way and just sit by the stream? And having a guide hold that space for you and say, this is what you're supposed to do, right? Like, this is your invitation to just be, is really helpful. And I'll say forest bathing has been more and more popular with corporate groups. Surprisingly, just as an element to either their regular sort of team building and company well-being in their culture, or as a break in the midst of a busy conference. And you'll find that everybody is just rejuvenated and refocused after, in a way that you might not accomplish if you're just go all the time.
I love that you bring that up.
Rah.
The big salesman rah thing.
Culture, the rah. And then it's like, I'm so tired of the rah.
No, I mean we're doing a lot of focus right now on what they call pleasure or bleisure, whatever you want to call it, pleasure, bleisure.
Like both Lisa and I used to work for this company that had these meetings all the time. It was always rah.
They sucked.
And they so sucked. And it was like, oh my God, could you just shut for a little bit and go outside?
We were doing our job. We were happy until they started.
We were doing good. We both did good in the company, but their rah was so out to lunch. It was like, can you just go outside and feel the sun so you realize that you're still a person?
Nancy's talking about the rah, but then their group activities were insane, where they actually pitted people against each other.
Yeah, it was
and it was supposed to be teamwork. And nowadays we're finding out, this whole pleasure, bleisure, whatever you call it. I hate the word business pleasure thing. Okay.
Pleasure, bleisure.
If you're going to do business somewhere, you should somehow get some leisure points in and not sit in your hotel room and eat the pizza. That's like boring. You need to go out and at least take a tour, right? But like what you're talking about, going out and taking forest bathing in between sessions, your brain has to recalibrate. Our brains, listen, they may be big, but it can only do like a little bit at a little time. Like, be nice. Be nice to your brain. So I love what you're saying about that. Go out into nature. And it's still a group activity where they're showing, I can't believe how many interviews we've done over the last 2 months on this. Everyone watch for It's Magazine, next one coming out in the new year, on the importance of breaking out and not only staying in brand hotels. Sorry, brand hotels have their function, but go to a B&B if you're traveling. I've met a lot of business people staying at the Lion and the Rose, whether they were in education or medicine, different people staying, especially solo travelers coming in midweek, and they want their room. They want to stay somewhere unique. They want internet. They have the internet. They have a unique stay. Someone's making you breakfast. It doesn't have to be one of those chain belt waffle makers things. And then you could go to your conference and your wife or your husband can come, whatever, come and join you. There is a whole new world, and I think that's exactly what you're offering, Nicole, with Asheville Wellness Tours. It's this whole other world of how we travel and do things, and it's more meaningful, and it's observant and reminds us to focus in on the natural world and how we're connected with the natural world. And if we lose that, we've lost ourselves. So I think it's very important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I love what you were saying, too, of it can't just be this rushed, the rah, or part, a side note, right? Like you can even break up your sessions and just have 5 minutes of movement practice or meditation between learning sessions. You can have an essential oil bar, have your giveaway for your attendees be a custom blend that supports relaxation or focus.
I love it.
So they can carry those allies throughout.
The switches from dollar and cents, pushing. The corporate world is always pushing money. And too bad for you if you can't keep up.
It is. Well, you're definitely going to recharge your devices, so why not recharge your people, too?
Exactly.
It's about value.
So
it's about
value. They have to change their mindset from money to, hey, wait a minute. How many, are we going to lose, fire, and change employees all the time? Or are we going to build something that is I want to say soundproof in a way? But I mean, is it something that's sustainable? That's where it's sustainable, or is it just? Yeah, it has to be sustainable, and that means it has to be pure, and that means it has to be good for everybody, not just the dudes at the top. Sorry,
but I can have a cocktail in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want the goat yoga and the cocktail and the forest bathing, and I want the tarot readings. Who doesn't want a tarot reading and understanding tarot? Come on, that's so cool. So AshevilleWellness-Tours.com is the website. Nicole, thank you for joining us. It has been such a pleasure. Hopefully we'll see you when we get to Asheville again.
I would love that. Happy early New Year. Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, Nicole.
Bye.
All right, from goats in yoga, forest bathing, rooftop cocktails. We've done a little bit of everything. Are we on the 23? I have not played ding for a while.
Not the ding.
My ding is delayed. I have a
Third floor.
delayed ding. I don't like having a delayed dingling. It's my dingling. Anyway, we're going to LaZoom. We're going to go LaZooming.
Boys
Are you ready to
wear,
LaZoom?
sporting
We're
goods.
LaZooming. We're LaZooming. I got my ding back. Everybody, we're LaZooming. We're going on a LaZoom tour.
She's got her ding-a-ling.
LaZoom-Tours.com. We're so excited to have Kyle Samples here. This is fun. I've seen LaZoom-Bus-Tours go around the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, and always want to get on because they are the loudest and most funny. Like, you can hear them from the porch, and you can hear that everybody is having a good time, and they especially stop when they have the Bates Motel out when it's Halloween season. But Kyle, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello. Yeah. Hey, great. I am great. How are you all doing?
I think we're doing
How
good.
you doing, Kyle?
We played with goats. We played with tarot cards. We've had rooftop cocktails. We've done all kinds of, musical destinations. And apparently now Asheville also has comedy and fun. Really?
Yeah.
Shocking. Yeah. So the Zoom tours, these are, and apparently you have, just going to the music thing and the brewery thing, that you have band and beer tours. Is this a true thing?
Oh, cool.
That we can get on a bus and drink a beer and listen to music going around Asheville? Is
That's
this
true.
A true thing?
It's called the Fender Bender, which is a triple entendre. Fender guitar, Bender, Fender Bender, all the above. And we put a 4-piece rock band on a bus and drive you around to 3 different breweries and let you have a drink.
Cool.
What?
It's I call it Asheville's most unsophisticated brewery experience.
Okay, but are we allowed to bring the beer back on the bus, or is that a no?
Oh yeah, no, we encourage you to do that. You can drink on the bus for sure.
Dude, where have you been all my life?
They're already sold. A really great thing is that what differentiates us from a party bus or any sort of dueling piano kind of atmosphere is that we have a booking agent, Andrew Fletcher here in Asheville, North Carolina, who rotates between about 15 different local bands that normally are playing their own originals, at various regional places. Everybody from Andrew Scotchy to Lyric. We've had some guests from Snarky Puppy on the bus as well. So we have a large rotating cast of bands that come in and do 1 or 2 a month for our patrons.
That's cool. This is so much fun. And apparently you allow dogs on the bus?
We do, yeah. We allow dogs on any of our tours.
So you can go from snarky to poopy.
Yeah, we could do it all.
Because Asheville, I think, is one of the most dog-friendly cities in the country. From we travel the country full time, but you guys kind of rock it,
Yeah.
And now
Asheville's very dog-friendly. In fact, we didn't intend to allow dogs on the bus, but we didn't really have a choice because people kept showing up with their dogs. So we were like, all right, we better write some dog jokes in on the tour so they'll have a laugh.
Well, the dogs there have personalities. Like Karen and Steve have Eddie Murphy and Bob Newhart.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we love having dogs on the bus. It's great.
Do. They have dogs on the bus. But their dogs go everywhere. I don't know how Steve and Karen, Ozzy and Steve and Karen take their dogs everywhere hiking. These little dogs. We went into Pisgah Forest. Was it Stewart's Knob that we went walking on?
We had done Black Balsam.
Wherever the flowers and the
Black Balsam.
Oh, okay.
Black Balsam.
but I don't know. There's all these. I don't know. The Blue Ridge Parkway is like this knob, that knob, and everyone has a knob. Like you have to pull up for
Sam knob is what we were looking at.
Oh, okay. I don't know. But anyway, your dog managed to go on these hikes. I mean, sorry. I know Kyle understands where we're going, right? He gets it.
Of course I do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but this whole thing, I mean, you guys have this magical area of nature, and your dogs go everywhere. Tiny little dogs. You took him out to go see the hikes the other day. That's funny. I mean, two little dogs, Eddie. I mean, they're Ozzy and Oreo, but we call them Eddie and Bob. They went everywhere with you. Like, I'm amazed.
They're lucky.
They are. I mean, I do not know many dogs that will do what your dogs do. Is that an Asheville thing that they, or is it
partly? Yeah, partly. I think it's part of it's the in-dog thing because they're so used to being social and just being involved in everything too.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, you guys carry them half the way too when they need it. It's cool though to see them out. And in fact, listen, you leave Bob alone.
Leave my little double stuffed Oreo alone.
I know. He's food motivated. So I want to know, Kyle, on the bus, do you have anything for dog owners to bring water, or do they need to bring up, because now we're talking about all that stuff. Should they bring their own water if doggies need it and bring poop bags and everything? Because you never know.
Well, I hope a dog doesn't poop on the tour. That wouldn't be a good look. It is a closed bus, so. But yeah, we have dog treats for the dogs and water for the dogs. We have our own bar downtown for our guests before they get on the bus. So we've got all the dog accoutrements there.
You have your own bar? Wait a minute.
We do. It's called the LaZoom Room on Biltmore Avenue.
Cool.
Near the orange peel.
Yeah, right across from the orange peel.
Mm-hmm. Don't you guys do comedy there too?
We did pre-pandemic, but we haven't been able to bring that back yet.
Okay, gotcha.
It's a small space. It's tough to get it all in and out of
there.
So down the road, do you think stand-up comic come back?
Yeah, we certainly hope so. We do feel like we're one of the pillars in the community for comedy and entertainment.
Oh my gosh,
definitely
cool.
So we hope to bring that back.
I hope, because that's the one thing during the pandemic, like stand-up comedy got really affected, like music, right? But stand-up comics, there's nothing. I mean, there's Netflix and Hulu and all that stuff, but like being in person, it's like that's it. That's a big deal. So what's it like going on your comedy tour? Because you've got the comedy bus tour. So you have local comedians on the bus. What's that like?
Well, yeah, it's a very interesting experience, and one of the reasons why I decided to join LaZoom about 6 years ago, it's not a comedian on a bus. We have a 67-page script, and we hire actors, comedic actors. So we're Western North Carolina, maybe even North Carolina or this region. We're the only theater on wheels that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
So we really treat our company like it's a theater company and not a tourism company, even though we put a foot in both doors. But it's a theater, it's a show, actors, costumes, scripts, sound cues, everything. Yeah, it is a very, very immersive experience.
Well, Nancy and I have not been on one. Is Steve and Karen, you guys have been on them?
Yeah, we've done it a couple times.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a fun time. You would enjoy it. I think especially the beer and band one would be your thing. We will eventually do that. It's just with our schedule, it's been hard to get on that one.
Yeah, that one's usually only on the weekends, and I'm guessing you guys are probably working every weekend.
Pretty much.
But now, tell us about the haunted comedy one, because I know, is that only in the Halloween season, or is that year round?
No, we do a haunted tour year round. It's called the Ghosted Tour. It is an hour-long bus tour where we highlight some of the more nefarious acts that have happened in Asheville. And unlike other ghost tours, when we talk about, say, the death of Zelda Fitzgerald, she might hop on the bus. and give a little performance. She was a dancer.
Oh, no cool.
So, you might have to do a fire dance.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy, creepy, cool though. Like, especially in the Montfort Historic District, that's where she was. She, if you drive around there, apparently you can smell burning hair in some areas. I'm just saying.
Might just be our bus, but you might be right.
I don't know. Like, it could be, I don't know.
Zelda was in, she was a patient of Highland Hospital, which tragically burned down in a fire, and 8 patients died, including her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There,
But they went up a fire escape that was wooden. Wooden steps.
I know, that's smart.
Like, and that's where, when we look at innovation and new things in life, we must look to the new things that may improve our old ways of doing things sometimes. Mm-hmm. She may look at metal steps now going, yes, boys and girls,
I think there should be a simple pole that you slide down. Just put poles outside of people's rooms.
You know what, Zelda, it was amazing. And, F. Scott Fitzgerald is amazing, too. And the two of them, their story, I think, is such a huge part of Asheville, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. Carl, like, both of them, not just her dying there, but the two of them came back and forth to Asheville all the time. And the literary history with Thomas Wolfe and O. Henry and everybody, it's insane, the history that you have, and how crazy all of them were a little bit. They're artists, and
they're creative,
pretty creatively vibrant. Is that colorful characters? Is that the way to say it? How would you say?
Asheville's always been an artist destination, whether it's been writers or visual artists or in our case performers. It's an area that draws a lot of creativity.
Yeah, you get to think outside the box because it's calm there.
Exactly.
You can center yourself and then go wild and crazy because you can. No, when I say that, I mean from an artist standpoint that you can think outside the box without being criticized, which is a huge thing because you can't do that everywhere.
You're right. In fact, Bela Bartok, a Hungarian composer, who was displaced because of Nazi Germany, he ended up in Asheville, I believe, at the Albemarle Inn.
Wow.
Wrote one of his compositions based on one of the songbirds he heard outside the window.
Wow. No way.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, and then The Gift of the Magi, I said it, Nancy, the Magi, was written by O. Henry in, he's laid to rest behind the inn. Behind the line, the rose in the Riverside Cemetery, everybody. But we just did a thing on that. It's amazing, like all this history that just kind of groups together. What is your kids' comedy tour like? Is that a local thing? Is that like a family thing? How does that work?
Yeah, we do a kids' comedy tour 9 months out of the year from April through December. I think our last 2 shows are next weekend. It is an all-ages guided city comedy tour of Asheville told by one of our performers. Right now we've got a guy named, his character name is Dorcas the Mediocre. He's an aspiring magician.
Cool.
Fun fact, though, the guy that plays him is from Cirque du Soleil, so you really get a top-notch show.
Cool.
He is not a Dorcas Mediocre, for sure. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's when parents ask if it's going to be okay for them, I tell them it's like a Disney movie or a Pixar movie. There are jokes for adults in there too.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So for you, like, if you were going to go on a bus tour as a guest on the tour, which one would you go on?
Well, I always tell people that have only been to, first time to Asheville, I always tell them take our city comedy tour, which we call Hey Asheville. It's the 90-minute during the day sightseeing. You get to see a lot of great neighborhoods, Montfort, South Slope, River Arch District, and you get LaZoom's, branded comedy on top of it. and a stop at a brewery halfway through. So you can check that off your list if you need to see a brewery while you're in Asheville.
Do you have a favorite brewery?
We stop at a brewery. In fact, we can't find a place not to stop at that isn't a brewery in Asheville. They all seem to be turning into breweries.
I love it. Well said, Kyle. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. LaZoom-Tours.com, and that's LaZoom-Tours.com, not to be confused with Zoom meetings. This is not your Zoom meeting.
No, or the LA Zoo either. We're not the LA Zoo.
No, exactly, right? Just go to LaZoom-Tours.com. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
No,
thanks,
awesome.
Kyle.
Yeah,
all right, bye-bye.
I want to go. I'm all in. I'm all in for comedy tours, and
you would like the original one, but the band and the beer are the one. That's the one we need to target going together.
Okay, right. Cool. Well, let's do it. We're make
done.
It happen.
That's it.
So listen.
Yeah, when we went, somebody brought a nice chest full of booze, so it was a lot of fun that way.
See, I think that's what's cool about Asheville is that it kind of has that
laid back.
I don't want to say Wild West. It's just laid back. It's like just be.
It's just,
and I think we're losing
everybody
places
do what they
like
want
that
within reason.
Yeah.
Nothing mean. Just get on with it and have a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know our next segment in the first Tuesday in February is going to be a Taste of Asheville. And there's a lot of people we wanted to talk to, but all the food people are tired for a good reason. And we're going to bring them back on the show. We're going to talk about cottage cooking, right? Yeah. And that's a big deal. We're going to talk about them. Yeah. They'll be on the show. We're going to hopefully get them. And
we will make sure we do.
That's cooking classes. So give everyone an overview. So just in case, we want them to be promoted.
This is a great couple that we met that offer like 20 different types of cooking classes. So anything you might want to take, they can offer to you. You can do private. You can do a small group of like 6 people. We did the cooking with beer class with them, and of how appropriate that was for us. So we met some locals, we met some tourists. It was just a fun few hours of making a 3-course meal and then enjoying it with new friends.
BYO too, by the way.
What's that?
BYO.
Yes.
No, I get it.
Bring your own.
But it's a good different way of exploring something in Asheville with the foodie scene. It just kind of fits as something, especially if you're somebody who comes here and comes back and is looking for something maybe a little different to do. Can take a Southern cooking class, the cooking with beer, so many options, and they were just great, and look forward to having them on.
Cool. Well, I want to also touch on the Battery Park Book Exchange and Champagne Bar. So we get books and champagne in the same place.
Yes, and live music at times too.
What? Seriously. Okay.
Yeah,
now
seriously.
We're gonna have to do that. They have to come
and
on
the Asheville Pinball.
I'm going to say we have to do them. That sounds bad.
I want to go play pinball. I want to play pinball.
The Pinball Museum is a good time, and of course, what do you expect? It's Beer City, and on the there's cup holders on every pinball machine to have your beer.
No way. Oh. So you guys have done this. You guys have done the pinball machine. We need to go.
Yes, you will enjoy it. Pay one price. You can pay one price and play as much as you want. You get a little wristband so you could play a little bit, go explore, get a bite to eat, come back, play some more.
Cool.
Oh, we need to. We must do it.
Yeah.
We must do it. This is a must. The pinball wizard has to happen.
I know.
Come on. Come on.
Steve and I were battling it out for the high score. I think the last time we our preference
on the Iron Maiden machine.
Yeah, the Iron Maiden one. It played music. Your choice.
So who won?
Your choice of music.
Oh
who
my
won?
God. So
which one is the
who won?
Oh, she did.
Oh, you're so polite.
I could have said, I let her win.
Listen to that.
But how many years now have you been married? I was at just over
21.
21.
Oh
my God! And here
We're
I
at drinking age.
Oh my gosh, you've just reached adulthood.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Good
know.
for you.
And I thought when I got married for 6 months and said I did it, I'm done. You know, like that I did it. Apparently not. Apparently that doesn't. I didn't put the work into it. I didn't want to, but that's okay. But
that's what you call a flash in the pan.
Yeah, but at least I said I could scratch the thing on my little mark. Sometimes you scratch the box, and then sometimes the box is like a bigger box. Like you really go in deep, you know.
No,
so I just did it like I could say I did it, but like didn't do it.
Dude.
So you know. So now, what's the French Broad chocolate lounge?
The French Broad Chocolate Lounge is anything and everything chocolate, anything from brownies with cacao nibs to chocolate ice cream to cakes and chocolate bars, you name it.
Oh my gosh.
Heaven of chocolate heaven.
Oh, and beer too.
There's so much more that we haven't seen. We haven't even scratched the surface.
I know. I'm like your list. No. I'm trying to go through this list, and then like honestly, I have to bring it. I know the North Carolina Arboretum got Biltmore Estate. That's a big deal. You've got to give an overview of that because there's the gardens, but that is like a mansion thing. That's
Biltmore is pretty impressive and amazing. I mean, the architecture, there's just nothing like it. When you're standing in front of it, I mean, pictures don't do it justice, honestly. When you stand in front of it and look at it, you're just like, how did they build this? How huge is this house? And it takes your breath away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this huge mansion that you can go into, and anybody who loves Anderson Cooper, it's part of his family. Just going back to the Vanderbilts, you know. I mean, it's really this ancient time, but not ancient, but like no, the indigenous people would be the ancient ones. If you go to Smoky Mountains National Park, the Smoky Mountains National Park, you'll be able to learn about that. So I wanted to touch on that because I mentioned it, and the Smoky Mountains, it's not that far from you. You can do it through the Blue Ridge Parkway, or people, if it's, you know, weather like now in the winter, you can go on the lower roads, right, to get there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, as long as it's clear.
Yeah. And you guys, you sent us that one time we were coming up from Florida, I think. I don't know, we went through all time temperature zones, and you said, well, we were on our way, and we were doing a detour to get to you, and you're like, well, go to Cherokee, I think it was, to see the elk, and lo and behold, in fall, it was September or October, I think. Lo and behold, we found them, but we also found, like, historic communities in the park, and, I mean, different. Can you give us a little overview of the park? Because we haven't done it like how we do our national parks. Like we went, we saw the elk, and it was raining, and it was fall, and leaves were falling.
That's
beautiful.
So cool.
And there was like a sugar mill and all these things going. I don't know if it was it was a mill. There was like a wheel thing going around, and COVID and everything. So a lot of things were closed. But it seems like this park, you know, it spans two states, right?
Yes,
Tennessee,
exactly.
and
Most people think. Yeah, most people think Tennessee when they think the Smoky Mountains. Little do they know there's a lot of nice things on our side in North Carolina.
Yep.
Okay.
We saw elk and little historic communities. I mean, it was amazing to see life in a different way than what we would see in the city, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing we love about the Blue Ridge Parkway is that there's so many different things. You can spend as much or as little time on it as you want. And then there's just those little things like that. And then, of course, the overlooks that we've stopped at where certain places are known for monarch migration and different bird migrations and stuff like that, that there's something in any time of the year, there's something that you can see when the parkway is open.
There's always a butterfly in Stewart's Knob, apparently. There's like, I mean, from where we were, it was like there's butterflies everywhere. I'm just saying. There's a lot of knobs on the Parkway. Everywhere we went, like, and when we drove to you the last time, even on our way through Virginia, it's like this knob, that knob. I'm like, what is coming? Like, so that is a word for mountain or like
knob?
Yes, I believe it's when it's a bald top to the mountain. Is when they call it a knob.
Sorry, had to go there. So now we also have to bring up Chimney Rock and talk about a big knob. Chimney Rock State Park. That thing is massive. That thing just goes all the way up.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody should see that and go to the park year round.
Absolutely. Yep.
When you guys took us there, it was such a beautiful and short drive from the inn to Chimney Rock State Park, and then the town itself. Charming. Right. There's a winery, but the brewery was my favorite.
Yeah, Lake Lure
thing.
down there.
Oh my God! Didn't we all just love the brewery where we could watch the heron in the water and be right there on the water with the heron?
Brewery, yep.
That
perfect end to the day.
It was,
and
and the beer was good, and the food was just like exactly what we needed for our bodies at that time. It was just perfect. Yeah.
And the heron was like, I'm going to get my dinner. I don't care how many people are watching me.
Exactly.
Okay.
I know he was. He was like, no, I'm going in.
He was, yeah.
Yep.
Just because I haven't done a ding in a while. I can't keep up. I don't know if it's 23 or not.
What's up with the ding?
The ding is to, make sure we keep up with our 23, but, we're not. So
throw a few extra in there.
I'm trying. So, Asheville Salt Cave. What is that, Karen? What are we playing Sinbad the Sailorman? What's going on?
What?
Well, I always think about Sinbad.
That goes along the lines of the wellness. So they built
There's
an
actual goat in the salt cave.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, so salt cave. Go ahead. Sorry.
They built. No, it's fine. They built with Himalayan salt. They built this nice little room, so you can call it a cave. They have like the zero gravity chairs. You lay back. Nice music. They have a little fountain in there, so you hear the trickle of some water. It's just meant to be a nice, relaxing kind of thing. And, of course, then they have add-ons of massages and other kinds of things. So it depends how much you want to pamper yourself, but it's a good place to go relax.
The crystals are supposed to cleanse your body or something, too, I think.
Well, people put in their houses.
Healing, cleansing, yes.
The Himalayan salt is supposed to, take out the negative energies of the air, and people put it in their offices, in their bedrooms, and people should.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, suck that negative.
I like salt
stuff out. Yeah. So, speaking of salt, let's go to glass. Karen, you said Lexington Glass Works was a thing to look at.
That's it. So there's several different glass works. That one just happens to be in the South Slope, so we, surprise, have visited that one more often. But they do demonstrations where you can watch them make anything from a bowl to a glass, whatever they happen to be working on.
Cool.
Oh,
that's
nice.
And of course they have a bar in there where you can get beer there too.
Beer in there.
See, this is why Asheville is so cool and relaxed, because they have beer and bars and champagne
everywhere.
And bookstores. I mean, come on, beer and come on. Everybody's chilled out. You got forest bathing and goat yoga. I mean, what more do you want? No wonder it is a vortex. Uncle Ted from Gray Line Tours said it built on a vortex. All the religions gathered around for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah, and Uncle
Ted's
got to come back on the show. We need him back on with his new album.
Yeah,
for the music. Oh yeah, want to hear
the music. We like
music.
Uncle Ted. Yeah, Gray Line Tours.
Uncle
everybody.
Ted's fun.
I would say that would be your start to Asheville, honestly. But I haven't done LaZoom yet, so.
Yeah, so we got to go there. Next time we have to do that.
Yeah, you got to do that.
I think that if
you got to do that next time.
Yeah, if you could do the beer one, that would be good.
Definitely.
Like beer.
We'll work
music.
around it and make plans.
Yeah, we got to do that. So what is the McCormick Field about? Home of Asheville tourists? Like what? I don't
Go ahead, Steve. That's our baseball team. I'll let you.
That's our local minor league baseball team, yeah.
Is that what you keep
cool.
posting photos of? Like you're always, we're here, we're doing that, you're doing that?
Yeah.
That's now, do you get good hot dogs? Before you get into baseball, it's very important to talk about sausage. So what are the, you know.
Can go on the hot dog days, the dollar dog days. Those actually still exist.
What?
Dollar dog
days, yep.
Yep.
No way. That's the ultimate sausage.
So are the Asheville tourists is that the visiting people, or is that the?
That is the team. That's
the team. Believe it or not, that's the name of the team. As silly as it sounds,
but tourists.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean,
so are these
different.
people that are just fun Asheville people that are good at baseball, or
no? It's a minor league team.
Well,
they're affiliated with the Houston Astros.
Houston Astros. Yep. That's their.
Wow.
I believe it's single A or is it double A?
Yeah, single.
Oh wow. Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun
and
time.
They do different theme nights, different things. We like going on Jersey night. We have several jerseys.
You wear jerseys.
$3 craft beer night, I think it is.
Yeah, Thirsty Thursdays.
Thirsty Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, apparently this is a big deal. Okay.
It is for locals especially. It is.
I think 2 dog nights a year, too, so you can take your dogs.
Come on.
Oh,
and the families of those who are in playing, that's a big deal, too. Family and friends, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, okay. So what is the S&W cafeteria? What's that about? What's the S&W stand for? Uh-oh. I shouldn't ask that.
I can't say I can answer what S&W stands for. I know the history of it, and it's one of our favorite places to recommend because that's fairly new, reopened. It has several different food in there from restaurants that are popular in Asheville, so they did like a second location of something. So you can pick and choose what kind of food. And then you have Highland Brewing, which was the original craft brewery. And they have a nice bar in there. The second floor is a nice lounge, very 20-ish themed in there, gorgeous architecture, probably one of the prettiest buildings. I'd say that's my favorite building in all of downtown.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Nice.
Wow.
And is the St. Lawrence Basilica, is that the one that we've seen when we do the Gray Line bus tours where
that was
the guy, where the architect got buried within the building?
Yep.
Yes, it is. That's the same, yes.
Well, he got buried within the basilica. If you're going to be buried, you might as well be buried in your own building.
He forgot to build the staircase out.
Oh, my gosh. Well, the basilica
I think you got to go to church every day.
No. Oh.
That's a beautiful building, though. For anybody, just architecture-wise, it's a beautiful building.
But listen, the guy gets to see all the weddings and all the bridezillas and all the mother-in-laws speaking out and all the drama that goes on in a church. Listen, churches have so much drama. I mean,
oh my gosh,
come on.
It's like graveyard TV.
Oh, nice. That only happens once you step out into the street and where everybody's buried. And then you've got the haunted nun that appears because, you know, all the things with the nun. And to know about the nun, you got to go on the Gray Line bus tour, or trolley tour, excuse me, not bus tour, trolley tour, because that is a whole other thing. And the haunted mystery tour, they do that year round, right? Because that's
too much
honestly, fun. Honestly, I love the Gray Line tours. I do. I think they do a good job, and
they do.
I just going around the city, I was like, oh, I just wanted them to stop so I could get off the bus for a second, but you can't because that's not the tour you're on.
It's a lot to take in. Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
I mean, Asheville, you go around. Here's this ancient basilica, St. Lawrence, and then they're telling you about the guy being buried in there, and then the nun popping up down the street. She's dead and popping up. And you go around the corner, and then, hello, here's orange peel, and there's, hello, there's Lionel Richie basically singing hello.
Yep.
The mural, you know.
Yep.
Crazy. What is the Woolworth Walk?
The Woolworth.
Steve, you want to? The Woolworth building it used to be
the old Woolworth building, yes. And they turned it into an art studio or an art gallery, I should say. And they still have the old soda fountain there, so you can go up to the little soda bar and order yourself ice cream soda.
Oh no way! Like old school.
You can get Cheerwine with chocolate ice cream is really good.
Yes, if you all haven't had Cheerwine, that is a North Carolina thing. It's like a dark cherry soda. So we had a dark cherry soda with dark chocolate ice cream. Oh my gosh, that was heavenly.
Yum. That sounds good.
Oh my God. I
remember Woolworths from my grandmother. She just that was the place to shop.
We had Woolworths in South Africa. It was like your J.C. Penney. Woolworths. Like a J.C. Penney, you know? Yep. And it was like well, there it is. Wow. I think we covered everything. Guys, we did it.
Wow.
We did over 23. Only thing I would say is downtown Asheville. Is that different from the River Arts District? Two different places?
Two different. I mean, they're both within a mile of the inn, just different directions, but so much to explore between doing downtown one day, River Arts another, seeing all the artist stuff down there, and then there's getting to be more restaurants and breweries down in River Arts as well.
Yep.
And then Pisgah National Forest, that is part of the parkway, but it's kind of connected to Smoky Mountain or not? Like it's just really part of the parkway?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
It's connected to the parkway.
Surrounded by the Pisgah Forest.
Yeah, Pisgah's like in sections to the north, to the south, every direction pretty much. There's some sections we like more than others. That's usually our go-to for hiking and that.
Yep.
Well, you guys always post awesome photos on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter. Everybody keep up with them there. Karen, give everybody the handles. What are your handles, Karen?
Hold
on. Let's see. I have to think about that. I'm so used to posting, I can't think of what the handles are.
The Lion in the Rose. Just type it in the search. You'll see the Lion in the Rose little logo come up, and I know it just sounded.
You'll see the beautiful pink lady.
The beautiful pink lady, or the beautiful pink lion comes up on Facebook. The Lion in the Rose Bed and Breakfast, Asheville. Everyone, just go to lion-rose.com and click from there. That's the best thing. And while you're there, just reserve a night or two or three or four or five.
Absolutely.
It is an awesome place
visit.
to stay. That is our number one thing. You go. That was our very first experience in Asheville, and we haven't stopped going back. And I think, they say it's a vortex. That's what Uncle Ted says.
Yeah.
And so I believe in Uncle Ted, and I believe in good people. I believe in nature, and I believe in good breweries.
Absolutely.
Well, I see that we haven't done half of the things we need to do.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many. There's so many we have not touched on yet either in 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know how we try to get out and about to do things.
Exactly.
Okay. Here's the last thing, because we're going to close with a song called Paradise Falls by Love Bubble. They were on our show when we did the Toast of the Music in Asheville. And Love Bubble is a local band, and you can keep up with them at lovebubble.bandcamp.com or reverbnation.com /Love Bubble WNC. Just type in Love Bubble Band Asheville, and you'll find them. They're awesome. They were on our show when we were in Asheville a couple years back with their Love Revolution album. And this is Hank Bones, Paula Hankey, and Peggy Rattus. And they are awesome. This is about all harmony music. But Paradise Falls is about a waterfall in Asheville area. And Steve and Karen, you know how to chase waterfalls, whether they're flowing or icing over. And so that is something we should put as one of the major 23 things to do is go chase waterfalls. Looking Glass is
we are working our list down that.
Looking Glass is one you just went to and one you took us to. And everyone, our upcoming, you'll see it. It's out by this time of this airing, Parks and Travel magazine. Do you know there's a Looking Glass chief, Native American chief, that was talking with Chief Joseph when he was going through the U.S. Cavalry chasing him, and he said, "Screw you, and I'm running with my tribe," like basically, Anyway, so we did this whole thing on this trail ride that people do on horseback. It's a progressive trail ride for 13 years that you do one portion every 13 years. And our friend Christy is now in her second portion of this, taking her horse and, doing this. But Looking Glass talked to Chief Joseph, and I'm like sitting there last night doing all this work, this research thing, going, Looking Glass Falls. I know it makes sense for a waterfall to be called that, but I wonder if it's going back to Looking Glass, Chief Looking Glass. Would Asheville, North Carolina connect all the way back to the very, top west corner of our country?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway, that's interesting.
But the word glass is a modern word compared to
Looking Glass.
That's me, I think. Yeah.
It's like he's looking into the pond like Narcissus or whatever his name was. You could see his reflection and couldn't stop looking. So, because the water's like glass, so it reflects back. That is, and then now the word glass is a window pane or,
right.
It's not. Yeah,
I don't know, but I just thought of it because the indigenous
That's
people of your area, that is something I want to say. Look that up, that history, because the indigenous people of North Carolina and the Appalachian region, Smoky Mountains, Pisgah Forest, that is some of the most important history that you have in your backyard. So I know we've talked about the arts and everything, but I just want to make sure people research that too when they travel, because there is no anything without them.
Exactly.
Being the conduit between. So thank you both for joining us. And these shows are fun. Every first Tuesday, everyone, Adventures in Asheville. Today we covered over 23. I think we did more, right? I think we did it. We did it.
That's a lot.
We did
it. I don't know. That's a lot.
I know, but there's still more, so stay tuned.
There's a lot more.
Every first Tuesday here on BigBlendRadio.com. Keep up with Steve and Karen, to Mrs. Wild of Asheville at lion-rose.com. And we're going to close again with the song, Here It Is, Paradise Falls by Love Bubble. Here it is. Everybody wants a love bubble. I'm just saying. Here it is. Thanks, guys.
Where the mountains rise and the water falls, my spirit flies when I hear that music, water music, paradise falls in paradise falls. You can be so close and never know unless you got someone to show you. Paradise falls, we're paradise bound. I wanna see your face when you see this place. Now the summer's here and the days are long. I can take you there. We can hear that music, water music, paradise falls in paradise found. You can be so close and never know unless you got someone to show you. Paradise falls, we're paradise bound. I wanna see your face.